Hey guys, today we're out here mowing our switchgrass. It's gonna be a hot one, but we got up early, so hopefully we can beat the heat. We're gonna be mowing it down to between 8 to 12 inches. We have the mower set at like 10 right now, and this is the establishment year. One thing we learned is how long it takes switchgrass to germinate, especially the cave and rock switchgrass that we planted. We had, not a weed on this planting until mid-June, I'd say, or early June at least, and none of the switchgrass was coming in until end of June or June.
End of June.
It's a new month. It's a Mayan calendar thing. But none of the switchgrass was coming in until end of June, early July, because it was such a wet year. If it was a normal year, we'd have an awesome stand already, but because of that delay, it allowed a lot of these weeds to grow up because that atrazine residual was able to wear out by then. So we got a lot of broadleaf weeds. Looks like we have a tree. A lot of this yellow foxtail, and that's the stuff that I'm not happy about, is because it's another grass, and that's what's really going to be competing with the switchgrass. So this is probably some of the worst of the area right now. And at first glance, you think it's nothing but weeds, but there really is quite a bit of switchgrass still. Here's a bunch, here's a bunch, here's a bunch. All of this tall, pointy stuff, this is a bunch. This is one seed.
Yeah, you can
all
show
of this
that
stuff. Oops. Right here. So it's definitely taken off right now. The good news is it's already kind of above the canopy, and I don't think it's going to get choked out. The key with switchgrass is patience. That's what I keep hearing. So next year we're probably gonna have a good stand, but we just want to make sure of that by mowing it today. And we could go in and spray 2,4-D, but really the broadleafs don't bother me quite as much, and that's not our main problem. We have 11 acres, so if there's broadleafs in it, it's gonna be all right. We just want to make sure that the grasses don't choke it out and that it doesn't get too thin on this first year. And then next year we can do more spraying weed control before it germinates using atrazine or quinlorac or whatever that's called. But today we're gonna mow it and hopefully get it through this first year. We're not gonna have a super tall stand, but like I said, it should ensure success. And now that it's super hot, when we mow it, and ideally we probably would have mowed it last weekend so that there wouldn't be seed heads on this foxtail, but I don't think the seed heads have matured because they weren't here last weekend. So hopefully we should be mowing it before it goes to seed, and then like I said, next year we should have a good stand. But anyway, we got the mower height set, so we're gonna get moving, make sure this doesn't get choked out this year, and mow all the switchgrass that we can mow. There's some areas that we're not gonna be able to hit, but hopefully it'll pull through and be good enough, especially by year 3 or 4. It might just take longer. So let's get to it. Of course, by we, I mean Trevor. See, in areas like these, we definitely need to get the broadleafs under control because it's actually providing some canopy, and that's not going to be good for the switchgrass. So I had said broadleafs weren't our main concern, but in areas where it's like infested like this, that's where we want to control it. But even when you dive down in here, you can actually see a lot of the switchgrass still, and it's actually kind of amazing how fast it grows once it gets hot. It's actually, some of it's over 2 feet tall already, and it just germinated not too long ago. So some of it's already bunched up and waist high, and once we free it from these weeds, it should really take off, especially now that it's hot in those drought conditions. None of the cool seasons, the broadleaf weeds, once we mow them, they just shouldn't be able to keep up because not a lot can handle what the warm season grasses can in the middle of summer. So I'm pretty excited about it. At first glance, it's definitely not as good as we would like, but I'm hearing that's how a lot of the first years go, and just trying to be patient and be optimistic. And I really do think come the second year it's going to be an awesome stand. And like I said, we don't want it to be an impenetrable wall anyway. We just want to get 11 acres of bedding in. I better get out of the way. We've got several acres planted over there on that hillside, but the creek washed so bad with these heavy rains this spring that we can't get a tractor over there. In fact, I'm not sure if we can get a tractor over there before, but which is one of the benefits of frost seeding. So that it's just gonna have to do the best it can, and we can try the weed control next spring. I think it'll still work out, but it might not do quite as well as the stuff that we're able to mow today. Right here we have our beans on top, and this is in that old pasture area that we're just turning into deer heaven. But on our one side, that's where our big chunk of switchgrass is. It's 6 or 7 acres surrounding this draw, and then we have the beans on top, then a little bit of old pasture, and then down into timber, and the other side of that hill is more switchgrass. So a lot of bedding. And right here we have our screen, and this is, I should have filmed it before we mowed it, but it's actually doing some of the best out of any of our switchgrass so far is on top here on this screen, which is good because that's where we need it to be the thickest. Well guys, it's the next day. Yesterday we were able to finish up our mowing. We mowed maybe 6 or 7, maybe 8 acres total. The only thing we didn't mow is kind of across the creek. I think I talked about it a little bit yesterday. And then there's one screen that we planted pretty late over there. And maybe we'll put some clips over there because we're going to be heading over there today. We haven't really checked it since we planted it. Or at least not delay enough for it to all have sprouted. But that one was planted late, so it'll be interesting to see how that one does compared to the frost seeding. But that one was tilled as well. But anyway, we finished up our mowing on the stuff that needs it and that we can actually get to. So hopefully it'll come back really strong. After inspecting it, I think we'll have a really good stand. It is pretty weedy, but it doesn't have to be 100%, and it'll take over eventually, I do believe. So as long as we keep up on it, I think we'll have a really good stand in the years to come. So anyway, that's going to conclude this video. Going forward from here, because this is kind of a series that I think we're doing, is the Switchgrass series, I think maybe we'll have another update video or two coming up, and then I think next year maybe we'll have like a lessons learned video where we can say what we would have done differently. There's some things that we've researched and found that we've done differently than we would have, than how we outlined it in the first video. But a lot of things are also outside of our control. So anyway, lots to come on this Switchgrass series, and it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. And then today we're going to put our cameras for the first time this year. So we got 12 Cuddy-Link cameras in the system to put out, and it'll be interesting to see what we get. So make sure you stay tuned for that and subscribe to see future content. Thanks.